It's Wednesday, it's cold, and we're late.
Today was ab day, and my abs hurt before I even started. When we started exercising, I actually was really freaked out about how weak my abs were after having 7 babies. It's actually been pretty cool to see how I've been able to strengthen my abs. I'm also freaked out that my like intestines are gonna... So far that hasn't happened though.
Look at this.
Oh, that's cool.
Dang. Word search, group 7, past tense.
What? Okay, Hebrew was a little bit crazy today. I feel like my brain hurts. But you know what? Our team won. That's our team right there. We got candy, which is always a plus. Got my favorite kind of candy, Milky Way candy. I also like peanut butter candy. Look who's trying out his new seat. Is that pretty comfortable? Yeah.
Ooh, little chilly.
It's time for Q&A.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
All the questions today are from Instagram. Monique asks, if one or both of you were infertile, would you have gone down the path of IVF or adoption? That's a really tough question, and I don't know how to answer it because that's not our story. Early on in our marriage, we talked about adoption a lot. I feel like it was kind of the thing that we felt like we had to talk about, and that's what good Christians did.
Yeah.
And I will say that now I'm a bit more skeptical about adoption for us. I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's actually kind of weird. Unless someone's parents are legitimately dead, to claim ownership over someone versus the path of restoration or reconciliation with original family. I'm not against actually IVF or adoption or any of those things. Some of my favorite relatives are adopted.
I think it would have been really hard not to have kids for me. I don't know what I would have done, but I wouldn't have been surprised if I would have shelled out some money to try to get a kid. Right Voss asked, how many bathrooms do you have? 3. Does everyone shower after your early morning workout? No, I think Ben and I are the only ones, and sometimes just Ben.
You didn't read the whole comment. Cami, I love the haircut. We gotta talk about this haircut for a second because this has been really fun. And so many people are mentioning it in the comments. I think in the past, if I would have read that, I would have just been like, oh, these ladies are just bullshit you. Like, that's just what ladies do. They're just like, oh, nice haircut.
You don't
but
wanna
actually,
be a bitch.
this, like, haircut is so bomb looking on you. And I see so many comments. I think they're actually telling the truth.
I didn't think I'd like it this much.
The real Allison Hart asks, do you guys believe in medicine and shots or only natural things like essential oils? Are those our 2 options? We don't really use a lot of medicine or shots or essential oils. I mean, I really like cedarwood oil just because it makes me smell like a campfire and like I'm in a cabin.
Sometimes medicine is necessary to help someone. I mean, I take ibuprofen and Tylenol for headaches. Essential oils, I'm sure maybe some of them help. I don't know anything about them, honestly.
But I'm sure they're good. You should do them. Medicine, most medicine to me just seems
Covers
like
something up.
Yeah, it just covers up symptoms and it covers up pain, which
Isn't always a bad thing, but
I'm not opposed to pain. Or
sometimes it could
symptoms.
be. Alicia Eliza 6F asks, Cammie, a few vlogs ago you talked about how in the past you were way more irritable.
Elizabeth.
Are there any specific things from early in your marriage and parenting journey that were most helpful in moving you away from that? I think it's a process. When I was young and I had a lot of kids, it was just really hard and I was immature in a lot of ways, and it just took a lot of years for me to kind of grow out of that. It was a choice on my part too to do, I guess I would call it self-care, like that I'm important enough to, whether it's like counseling or reading books or having time away or
going to the coffee shop.
Going to the coffee shop to work through your stuff. One of my main reasons for why I was so irritable was I just had a lot of junk in me from my past that I hadn't worked through.
I think it's cool, Elizabeth, that you say in the bottom of your comment, you welcome any advice that can help me be less of a grumpy bitch sooner rather than later.
I know.
And I think that acknowledgement actually goes a long ways.
Yeah.
If you can say that to your husband or partner or friends or even your kids, I mean, you could choose to use different words if you want, but just to say, you know what, I'm sorry guys, I feel like a grumpy bitch right now or today or lately and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get help and want to stop. To me, that's a huge thing. Like, we both have our moments, but when Cammie was like that, we both know now you can only control so much, even about yourself. And if she was just to say, hey, I am this way, and I can't stop, I mean, like, it makes me go less on the attack and more be like, oh, dang, well, I'm sorry about that. Like, let's try and find a solution.
There are still days I'm still bitchy.
Seems like you're like a tiny bit today. Lisa Edwards asks, does Dove ever work on Shabbat? Does her employer know that you spend those 24 hours resting and respect that? You know, she doesn't work on Shabbat, and we made pretty clear early on that that's not really an option. And we kind of let her make that choice too, but you know, the nice thing about her job is she doesn't really need the money, and we don't really care about the money. We sent her there to get experience and learn, and we're kind of friends with the owner a bit, so she could say like, she could kind of list her terms and be a little flexible on that.
Julia asks, do you believe in general that people are doing the best they can?
Holy crap, Julia. How's that for your first time joining the Q&A? That's intense. I like it. You know, I generally do believe that people are doing the best that they can. Not with like absolute certainty or anything like that, but I have learned that a lot of times in the past, I would assume that people are out to get me or don't care. And then I got some other piece of information, maybe it was about their past or the way they saw the situation or their story. I mean, this is true about even my parents. You know, I think a lot of times it's easy to look at the way they were raised us and be like, oh, I'm gonna do things better, like they kind of sucked. But then when I heard more about their story and the way they were raised, it's like, oh, that actually makes sense. So I think it's safer and better to assume that people are doing the best they can and to treat them that way. And I guess I would say especially with kids. We see our kids and they make like this huge mess. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, are you not, do you not care? You out to get me is how it feels. But then I think about the mind of a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old and the capacity they have. And it's like so much better as a parent if I assume that they're not out to get me, that they're not trying to make a mess and ruin my life.
There's some 60-year-olds with capacity of a 15-year-old.
Adam and Joy +7 asks, during cold and flu season, what natural alternatives do you guys use while sick, and what do you do to boost your immune systems? I think we try and eat relatively healthy-ish.
Ben doesn't wash his hands.
I don't wash my hands ever. We try and get enough sleep. We try and exercise and have sex regularly.
Go to counseling. Deal with all the emotional baggage.
That's all we really do. We don't do any like fancy things.
Malcolgrams asks, why did you give up pork? Religious or humane reasons?
Religious. But I like the humane implications. Annie from 3 blocks down that way asks, does Dove still work at the coffee shop? What things has she learned from working outside the house? Does she enjoy working there?
Yes, she still works at the coffee shop. I think she's learning more about communication. This is really the first time she's having to like deal with adults that aren't her parents. She's learning like time management and how to step out of her comfort zone and having to talk to customers when it's uncomfortable.
And there's like tasks like mopping a floor and working a cash register and, you know, washing dishes in a commercial setting. Like those are cool things. And actually I think we've learned a lot too. Like,
yeah,
it was that kind of a confidence booster for me, because when we sent her out to the wild, I was like, oh crap, are we gonna be like those homeschool family parents where they're like laughing at that kid and family and be like, she's completely inept at the real world?
Yeah.
But actually we've been like surprised, but I guess it's not that surprising.
Yeah.
Like how well she's done, and we've heard about it from the owners.
But then on the flip side, I've had to let things go when I realize, oh, she's not doing well in this area. Instead, like I want to just like make it all pristine for other people, and I've had to just like, no, that's
like, not our problem.
I gotta let that go and be okay with her making mistakes. Brittany Getz asks, are you guys going to be doing vlogs on what you're doing to prep for the AT, or just your process of getting ready emotionally, physically, and logistically?
I don't know actually, because I don't want to make like a bunch of just like AT dedicated vlogs. There's a bunch of people that are doing that. I think they do a better job.
We might do a few more when it gets closer.
Yeah, I do want to share about how this preparation is impacting our life, because you guys have already come along on our journey this far. This next question is really a different one. It was a video that we got today from someone on YouTube.
Hi, Dad and Cammy. After watching your video tonight about, you know, reconsidering the people in your life that maybe you've shut out, or like the You Suck video, because our friend Jesus loves everybody. I'm not trying to make fun of it, but I'm not a religious person, so it feels kind of awkward for me to say that, but I'm 24 years old and engaged. I have 2 kids, they're 3 and 4, and I, up until 2 weeks ago, hadn't seen my mom in 10 years. She cut all of her family out, changed her number, all that. She ultimately chose him, and the contact was completely cut off. So over these last 10 years, everybody in the family has tried to get in contact with her and be in touch with her. I've gone to the door before to try and see her, but she never opened the door, and this was the first time that she did. So we had this warm embrace, and we texted for a couple of days, and then my stepdad shut all of that down. His conditions are basically that I can't have a relationship with anybody in my family. I can only come to them, to their house. And the other thing is I have a little brother and sister there too, who are 15 and 17, and my brother is severely autistic and has Down syndrome. Do you think that there are some people that you just have to leave behind? Like, you just have to, like, you feel like you've tried everything and given everything, and you just have to kind of leave them with themselves? You know, I feel like I can only say to my mom, you know, like, I'm here so many times. What would you do in this situation? And yeah, do you think that there are some people that just can't be helped? Like, you can't change anybody, right? Is there just a level of acceptance and love and forgiveness or whatever that I should just, so that I can see my mom and my brother and sister and just, like, you know, to deal with this guy, or what? What would you do? And if you watch this video, thank you so much for watching it, and I really appreciate your guys' videos.
BB Mama, thanks for making that video. That was really fun. I like the "our friend Jesus" line. The question she asked was 5 minutes long with the story she told, and we had to cut some out for this vlog, but the general premise was her mom cut her family out, and she chose him, and this him guy, this stepdad now, is somewhat abusive and might have some mental disorders and is very controlling, it sounds like. There's actually siblings in the mix here. Bellevue Mama's asking, what would you guys do? Which is like, geesh, we've never been in that situation. But your questions were, do you think there are some people that you have to leave behind? Yeah. For sure.
I don't know exactly what she means by leave behind, but I think for us, we've realized that there are people in our life that we can't be super close with, you know, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, there's two main ones. One is by our choice, because we feel like they're hurting us. The other is by their choice, of they don't want to be in our life.
And we're respecting that choice.
Yeah, and that's something that seems pretty clear here by the words that you use, is she chose him, she cut the family out. We've found that that's a reality that we just have to accept.
I also want to say, you know, I'm really sorry that this is happening. There's no two ways around that. That sucks.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot easier to say like, oh, we need to accept that reality, but it's not our parents, our family.
Yeah.
And when it is ours, I find that a lot more difficult.
I think it's possible to accept and forgive someone and still leave them behind and go on with your life and respect their choices.
Yeah.
I think that's a separate process. Like, I think accepting and forgiving sometimes is a lifelong process, especially with parents, I think, with family.
Here's an idea for either your mom or your siblings, and maybe this is a letter or a text or a phone call or actually just something in your own heart that you do, but to honor this situation, which is the fact that your mom has custody over your siblings and over herself and is making this choice for her and for them right now until they're 18, and to say, Mom, I respect your choice to not choose us, and I wish that was different. I love you, but I'm not going to be reaching out with you or hanging out with you, maybe around this man anymore, or whatever your criteria are for what you find acceptable, unless I hear from you or unless something changes. I don't know what the things are in your life. But yeah, to constantly feel like you need to be going to her door to maintain a relationship when she's kind of saying she doesn't want it, that feels like a dead end and kind of dangerous to both parties to me. Because your mom needs to live with the reality of her choice that she's making. And you could get hurt from just how you describe this guy. I mean, you have responsibilities and children and fiance. That's a tough thing. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. We are gonna head out to our date. Should be interesting. Ready?
Must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss.
That was a good little dinner. Man, I felt so like warm and full. The conversation was good. I had a drink. Oh!
No.
That could be us.
I know.
This is like kind of the main event of our date night, I guess.
Except for the cigar smoking afterwards.
That's true, that's true. Right now, we are gonna be heading into this place right here, which is a sex shop, to do some sex toy shopping, which we haven't done, I don't think, in like 10 years. Are you nervous?
Tiny bit.
What's the worst thing that can
I'm more
happen?
nervous about talking about this on camera.
Yeah, the vlogging part, I'm like, you know, you never know whose parents are watching this right now. But hey, I figure they already know about all this stuff because we're here, right?
Right.
All right, let's go.
It's our bag of goodies.
It's a bit awkward to talk about this stuff for us, but the question I constantly and consistently ask myself when we're thinking about vlogging is, is it real? This is like our night. We're not doing this for the vlog.
We were gonna do it anyways.
I can't think of like a good reason to not share it. Besides just trying to avoid awkwardness.
But we don't think it's inappropriate. And we think it's not really talked about.
Yeah, I have a feeling most people like aren't against sex toys or sex, but they're against talking about it. And even if they saw it like on a TV show on Netflix, they wouldn't necessarily blush. They would if they were in front of their parents or children. I don't know, when you mix it with faith or large families, it just seems to be weird. So we're gonna talk about it. 10 years ago, or when we got married, I think I was like super amped on sex toys and interesting, diverse exploration and adventure, and
him and I couldn't have been further apart on that. I was like, no.
And we bought some things.
You bought something.
Okay, that's true. I thought it was we. I wanted it to be we, but it was me, and it was like, generally speaking, a disaster. I was like really excited and really charged, and like Cammie not being interested or willing or able was a really hard thing for me. And there was like a lot of rejection. I don't know if there was shame with us, but we didn't talk about this with anyone. Here we are, probably about 10 years after the fact, and it feels really different. Like going into the sex shop was really kind of mundane and boring. Like we were super tired when we left that place.
It was really hot in there.
The sales lady was
like really nice, but she just wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah, she was like acting like our best bud, and like, you know, like, I don't know. There was a tiny bit of refreshingness around how casual they are about the whole topic.
Yeah, they're just like, and when you orgasm, man.
Oh, and there's the pink one and the purple one.
And your clitoris. Okay, all right.
But it just feels really different. So Cammie and I were just smoking cigars, and we were talking about, okay, what do we want our night to look like? Like, what do we want to try first? And I don't know, what do you want out of this? And what do I want out of this? And it's just weird for me because I could actually go the night without trying these new things or even having sex, and that's a new place for me to be in our relationship, and I still be relationally connected.
And I'm able to explore this stuff with him and my body without, like, I think that's a cool thing. And before I thought that's a gross thing, or I didn't even really want to think about it.
So our goals for tonight are to have fun together. I want to be closer to you, not just like check off some sex toy boy fantasy bucket list thing. You know, because a lot of my perspectives on sexuality were formed by porn and movies, and they were just fake. Well, at least parts of them were fake. But yeah. You know, I'm realizing from a lot of our counseling and just my own growth that there's always something deeper. So when I wanted sex toys with you, it was usually not about the sex toy. I just wanted to feel free to explore and have fun.
Yeah.
And like,
and that's why
try
I feel
things.
sad that I wasn't able to do that with him or be open to that.
But I don't think I was really open to you either. I was more selfishly just wanting this thing for myself, and I didn't have much capacity to understand where you were at or appreciate that and not just feel like a personal disappointment.
I think that went both ways, but yeah, I see that.
So this is a breakthrough event for us, I guess. I think we're making it more epic because we're vlogging about it. But that's actually one of the nice things about vlogging is it gives us this...
I think it is epic, but even talking about it with you guys is helping me realize, oh, we've really come a long way. And that's really cool.
If there's anything we could share about you guys on this vlog in terms of our hopes for you guys, it's not that we're like, you should try sex toys. In fact, I really recommend the black or the blue
thing.
But it's that I hope in your relationship, especially for you married folks, because I think that's what receives the least attention in Hollywood and other places, that you're able to still experience excitement and honesty and adventure, because that's been one of the most fun things for us. Even, like, I think we're having the best sex of our life 17 years in, and this is why I don't think we're too explicit on this vlog. Like, sometimes I wonder, like, oh, should kids be watching this? Or if you're not married or having sex, should you be watching this or this or that? But I'm like, I want people to know that this is possible, because I didn't know it was. Like, I thought you're doomed to boring sex. And I thought that after I got married. I was like, what did I do? And I was too ashamed. Like, I never would have got a divorce. And I don't think I ever would have cheated on you. But I was like, crap. Like, all those other guys, what I see on TV, they're having more fun. And now I actually just, I can see that for the lie that it is. Like, I think the 17 years of work that we've put in to creating a safe place of acceptance and love has made it so that you can try these things, and I can try these things in a completely different way.
Are we showing them the stuff? I don't know.
We gotta have some level of decency around here. Maybe if it really is awesome, we'll do a full product review, because that's what people like on YouTube, is like unboxing product review type things. We just are never very good at it, but maybe we've been in the wrong segment. All right.
Oh, and Cami, I love your haircut. It's awesome.